Brave little virgin who lit the candle. I'll be thy friend.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things only adults get in the Hocus Pocus franchise.
But I'm a witch. I know things. Go on.
For this list, we'll be looking at details, jokes, and plot points that might have gone over the heads of this franchise's younger audience. Since we will be discussing plot points from both movies, this is your spoiler alert. Which Hocus Pocus detail gave you the aha moment when you rewatched it as an adult? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. The gaps in the Sandersons' understanding of the modern age. Hocus Pocus. Early in the first movie, the Sanderson sisters stand trial and meet a gruesome end for their crimes. Then, Max accidentally resurrects them 300 years later.
Tell me, Dumpling, what is the year?
1993?
Needless to say, a lot had changed in the world, so it makes perfect sense that the sisters find things like modern transportation, paved streets, and headlights baffling. However, for people who haven't been around for 3 centuries, they also appear to have an impressive grasp of the contemporary age.
Hello there! Let me see your driver's permit.
There's talk about cooking with margarine, they're familiar with Screamin' Jay Hawkins' most famous single from 1956, and how on earth does Mary know how to ride a vacuum? We're no history experts, but we're pretty sure none of those items existed in 1693.
It's just a bunch of hocus pocus!
Number 9. Whatever happened to Jay and Ice? Hocus Pocus. Remember Jay and Ice? The mean guys who steal Max's shoes? Well, at least someone does. When Max and Allison set out to rescue Danny, they discover that the Sanderson sisters have the pair locked in cages.
Hey, Hollywood! I was out here.
Rather than do the right thing and free them, Max takes back his stolen possessions and literally leaves them hanging. Later, during the end credits, we see them engage in a little sing-along to pass the time.
Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
We don't condone theft, but couldn't Max have saved them too? Is stealing shoes really a life sentence offense? They are briefly mentioned in the sequel, but we still have no idea if they were freed or even survived.
God, if my memory serves me incorrectly, we were in the cottage, the boys were in the cages, and that's when that sunrise tricked us.
Seriously, in all of Salem, no one noticed they were missing?
What am I supposed to do with my afternoon?
Maybe you could learn to breathe through your nose.
Number 8. What exactly do the sisters feed on? Hocus Pocus 2.
But I guess I better be going.
Oh, stay for supper.
I'm not hungry.
Oh, but we are.
As fans of the original movie know, the Sanderson sisters' whole thing is feeding off children's souls. This is why the Walgreens scene in the sequel might have confused some older viewers. Becca and Izzy trick the witches into believing that the store's skincare aisle has all their child feasting needs, including an apparently delicious baby face cream.
Floral with a woodsy finish.
The bit takes a macabre turn when Mary holds up a face mask she believes to be a child's face and starts munching on it. A kid might find this morbidly humorous, and sure, we chuckled too. But we also wondered, since when do these witches eat flesh?
Soup's on. Shall we? Dinner for 3.
It evoked the spine-chilling feeling we had the first time we watched the terrible trio get ready to feast.
Take my hands, we will share.
Number 7. Betrothed at 16. Hocus Pocus 2. During the flashback scene at the start of the sequel, Winifred tells her sisters that the Reverend Trask is marrying her off at the ripe old age of 16. Yeah, you heard us correctly. 16.
Did Slee say no?
Of course. Then I took the Lord's name in vain. Twice.
We all had warped ideas about age as children, so this probably didn't seem too bizarre to the youngest audiences. However, many teen and adult viewers likely got the sweats just by the idea of getting married so young.
Allow me a moment to reconsider.
Yes, of course.
No.
Oh, praise God.
Still, as the history buffs among us might point out, the life expectancy in 17th century United States was between 41 to 43, compared to today, which averages around the late 70s. It might sound terrifying, but the math checks out. You just know Winifred would be a total bridezilla.
She is so ugly and unpleasant.
That was some prize.
Number 6. We Desire Children, Hocus Pocus. In the first film, the witches learn all about this magical contraption called a bus.
And its purpose?
To convey gorgeous creatures such as yourselves to your most forbidden desires.
Though he's clearly beguiled by his bewitching passenger, the driver's description of his job still doesn't remind us of any bus ride we've ever taken. Still, when Winifred tells him their most forbidden desires, he fires back with a racy quip that definitely went over our heads as kids.
We desire children.
Hey, that may take me a couple of tries, but I don't think that'd be a problem.
As the ladies prepare to disembark, the driver's parting conversation with Sarah Sanderson shows that he's ready and willing to make true to his earlier promise.
You want my route schedule?
Oh, thou wouldst take me in the morning.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, believe me, thou wouldst.
It took us more rewatches than we care to admit to finally cotton onto the joke, and we're probably not the only ones.
Dost thou comprehend? Well, you explained it beautifully, Winnie. The way you sort of started out with the adventure part, and then you sort of slowly...
Explain what?
Number 5. The Sanderson Drag Queens, Hocus Pocus 2. You know you've made it somewhere in the world in 2022 when there's a drag tribute act in your honor.
Well, because they also worship you.
Thank thee!
Indeed, Hocus Pocus has vastly influenced the drag community for years. Still, nothing gave us a thrill like seeing Drag Race alumni Ginger Minge, Kimora Hall, and Cornbread Jeté cameo as the Sanderson sisters drag act in the sequel.
Lose the teeth.
Mind your business, girl.
The movie had a significant impact on the LGBTQ+ community, while its leading witches are known advocates for causes supporting their rights and acceptance. The inclusion of this trio was so much more than just a fun cameo. It was a nod to the community's loyalty and a warm, "we see you" to their most devoted fans.
Oh, they're doing a bit. That's right, girls. Take all this blood.
Number 4. Cat Got Your Tongue, Binks? Hocus Pocus. As we know, in a former life, Thackeray Binks was a human who failed to save his sister from the Sanderson sisters.
His punishment shall not be to die, but to live forever with his guilt.
They sentenced him to life as a cursed cat who ends up stranded when even his father shoos him away. For 300 years, Binks couldn't communicate his plight to anyone. He even resorts to drastic actions when trying to stop Max from igniting the candle. Yet next thing we know, Binks can talk.
Yeah, no kidding.
Now, get the spell book. Come on, move it!
We were no strangers to talking black cats in the 90s, so we barely batted an eyelid. However, now we're wondering how he could suddenly speak to Max, Allison, and Danny. Was it something to do with the candle's magic? Frustratingly, an explanation was never offered.
We're just trying to help you.
Well, don't. Nothing good can come from this book. You got it?
Number 3. So many Easter eggs. Hocus Pocus 2.
At last, back to our squalid verminous abode.
One of the best parts of a long-awaited sequel is the inevitable and exciting Easter egg hunt. And Hocus Pocus 2 did not disappoint.
And now, at long last, it's time to conjure together once more.
Since we've already listed our top 10 callbacks in another video, we'll just pinpoint some of our favorites here. When the Sandersons first received the spellbook, Winifred first casts her eye on a cat transformation spell. Later, the witches peer through a window where a couple seems to be watching something closely resembling the 1993 cult classic. There's also a blink-and-you'll-miss-it nod to the iconic Madonna costume that Max and Danny's mom wears. Newer fans will likely miss many of these details, but we eagle-eyed devotees to the 1993 original watched intently for Easter eggs at every turn.
A boy.
Hi, I'm Gilbert the Great, and I am your biggest fan.
Number 2. Billy's Sleepless 29 Years, Hocus Pocus 2.
Hello, Billy. Yes. Hello, Billy.
Hello, you withering hag.
We were delighted to learn that friendly zombie Billy Butcherson was being resurrected for the sequel. But our delight soon turned to horror when we discovered how he'd spent the last 29 years. In the movie, Gilbert is sent to the cemetery to dig up Butcherson and shockingly discovers that Billy's resting place is shallower than he expected. and he's very much awake.
Well, because I was woken up and never put back to sleep. Well, I've been awake since... how long ago was 1993?
Yeah, poor Billy's been awake for almost 3 decades. So, essentially, he spent all that time helplessly trapped underground while people unknowingly trod across his grave just a few feet above. The imagery's so disturbing that just thinking about it gives us palpitations. We need to move on before these mental images give us nightmares.
I must bid you all good night. To my eternal rest.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. A Curse for the Vegans, Hocus Pocus 2. That's quite a vegan feast she's listing there.
Tempeh, soy riso, agua fava, garbanzo, cacao, spirulina, cremini. Satan!
What did you do?
Who the devil is that? Hocus Pocus. Do kids today recognize filmmaker/actor Gary Marshall and/or his sister Penny?
Satan has married Medusa. See the snakes in her hair?
I don't want to play in this. I don't want to play.
The Morbid Photo Shoot, Hocus Pocus 2. We doubt many so-called witches stopped and smiled for a picture as their fate loomed closer. The Veep Reunion, Hocus Pocus 2. Kathy and Jimmy, Sam Richardson, and Tony Hale all appeared on the satirical political TV show.
Who is this man?
That's the mayor.
Incomprehensible.
The Salem witch trials actually ended before Halloween of 1693, Hocus Pocus. Maybe they made an exception for this truly terrible trio?
This is terribly uncomfortable.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The whole virgin motif. Hocus Pocus and Hocus Pocus 2.
What's a virgin?
That is a person who has never lit a candle.
It's hard to imagine Disney explicitly addressing a character's sexual activity, or lack thereof, let alone using it as the catalyst for a film storyline.
One All Hallows Eve, when the moon is around, a virgin will summon us from under the ground.
In 1993, Max's virginity was key to the plot and likely elicited plenty of impromptu birds and the bees talks. It was a recurring punchline that suggested virginity was something to be embarrassed about.
Are you a virgin?
Yeah.
Really?
Look, I'll get it tattooed on my forehead, okay?
The 2022 sequel continues the joke, from the curious kid in Gilbert's audience to the nudge nudge wink wink explanation of why the store owner can't light the candle.
Well, why not? Oh, ew!
As youngins, we probably didn't really understand much about the whole virginity thing. But now we're wondering why a film aimed at children is so fixated on this social construct. It really is perplexing.
What happened?
A virgin lit the candle.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.